Yep, these are 5 mistakes that people with wavy hair always make. Hey there guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're brand new here, hi, my name's Courtney. We talk all things wavy curly hair here on this channel, the Wavy Curly Hair Science, and I do my best to share tips and tricks from the Curly Girl method to help you improve the health of your hair. If that sounds like fun to you, please consider subscribing and clicking that notification bell. Why? Because I would love the opportunity to get to hang out with you again on some future videos. Also, a free way to support this channel is to like this video and share it with a friend. I would deeply appreciate it, so thank you very much. I'm not one for long intros. Actually, yes I am. I am quite long-winded. I'm trying not to be. So let's go ahead and jump into the first mistake that I see a lot of people with wavy hair making. First, let's assume that you have just discovered that your frizzy, floofy hair may not just be bad hair, but it's actually wavy curly, and you dive into this whole wide, wonderful world of styling your waves and curls. You immediately begin the process by treating your looser curl pattern that's on the wavier side of things like super curly hair. This is absolutely something that I did when I first started out. I dove headlong into the deep end of all the super moisturizing products, like co-washing. What is co-washing? In case you're wondering, it is the process of cleansing your hair using only conditioner, or a product that's labeled co-wash, conditioner wash, or no poo for no shampoo. No suds, no bubbles. It's basically conditioner. It is what it sounds like, using conditioner to wash your hair with. And while this can be absolutely fantastic for certain hair types on occasion, it's not necessarily something that someone with a looser curl pattern or finer hair, or someone who's prone to buildup or super oily needs to be doing all the time. You can absolutely be doing the right thing for your hair and that not include co-washing. I don't know why I got it into my head when I first started this process that in order to do it right, I had to co-wash, I had to use a curl cream, and I had to use super heavy, deep conditioners every single week in order to make my hair super healthy. I also thought that somehow the Denman brush was going to give me perfect curls. While the Denman brush is an absolutely fantastic styling tool for certain curl types, I have yet to perfect using the Denman brush on my wavy hair. I do have a brush styling routine that I really enjoy and that works really, really well for me, but it's not using the Denman brush. Just because the Denman brush works really, really well for tighter curl patterns doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna work great for people with a looser curl pattern. The second mistake that I see people with wavy hair making all the time, you would not believe the number of messages and comments that I see where people say, I'm using this super lightweight product and it still seems to be weighing my hair down. Somewhere along the way, the hair care industry got it into their heads that they needed to produce products for people with wavy hair and they needed to be lightweight and light hold. Just because something is lightweight doesn't mean that it's always light hold. Now, more recently, we are having some more options, the wavy haired girls. We're getting some products that have really lightweight and good hold, like the Effortless Waves from Curlsmith. Yes, lightweight and hard hold. It's really, really cool. Love that product. But for the longest time, the main products marketed to people with wavy hair were really lightweight, light moisture, which is good. People with wavy hair don't tend to need as much moisture as someone with a much tighter curl pattern, but they were also crazy light hold. So the instant a wavy gal scrunched out the crunch and fluffed her hair, gravity took over and started elongating those waves, making it appear as if the product was weighing the hair down, when in fact it's just gravity weighing the hair down, and the product itself did not have enough hold for that curl type. Maybe you've used things like curl creams to style your hair, hoping to avoid the crunchy gel cast and those crunchy stringy curls, thinking that the curl cream's gonna give you those soft clumpy curls, when in fact the curl cream is lovely, but it doesn't have enough hold on its own, and you've been terribly disappointed that every curl cream you've tried has just weighed down your hair. perhaps it just didn't have enough hold for your hair. Perhaps you have used a foam or a mousse thinking that this super lightweight product would have some hold and also not weigh down your hair. You use just that to style your hair with and your hair falls flat and you think it's the foam or the mousse weighing your hair down. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's the fact that you didn't use a product that contained enough hold to lend structure to your waves for a period of time. Perhaps the product simply just didn't have enough hold to lend the structure to your waves that they needed in order to last for more than an hour or 30 minutes. The third mistake that I see people with wavy hair making is expecting to only wash their hair once every 17 days and their hair look exactly the same every single day in between wash days, that there's no change in their curls at all. There are a few curly girls out there that have perfected the art of the refresh and extending time in between wash days, but this isn't necessarily something that's attainable for people with a looser curl pattern. And there are a couple factors to this. I've already alluded to this in this video, but gravity has a very strong effect on people with wavy hair. The fact that we live on planet Earth means that we are under a certain gravitational force all the time, and that gravity does pull on the hair and stretch out and elongate the waves and curls. Why does it affect wavy hair more than tighter curl patterns? The reason lies in the number of hydrogen bonds that are in wavy hair. Typically, those hydrogen bonds in wavy hair are way more susceptible to manipulation, and the hydrogen bonds in your hair are what's responsible for the shape of your hair. People with tighter curl patterns have more hydrogen bonds and stronger hydrogen bonds that are going to set in a particular curl shape and stay there. Wavy hair tends to be more malleable, more susceptible to changes in where it is set. The second factor that comes into play here is that wavy gals have a looser curl pattern, and that oil and sebum in our hair can travel along our hair shaft a lot more quickly than someone with a tighter curl pattern. Someone with a tighter curl pattern, that oil may go around and around and around and around and around on that curl, and it only looks like it's gone that far. Whereas somebody with a looser curl pattern, that oil travels in a straight line instead of having to travel around a coiled hair. I hope that makes sense. What that means is that if you're on the drier side of things and you're not a super oily person, you may not experience this, but if you have wavy hair and a normal to high oil production of your skin, if you find yourself getting oily or greasy throughout the day, that's happening on your scalp too. And you may just have to wash and style your hair slightly more often due to a combination of your curl pattern and the amount of oil that you naturally produce. There are no prizes for going longer in between wash day. Nobody shows up at your door with a cash prize if you make it to day 5 without washing your hair. If you are using the right products for your hair and not using excessive heat on your hair, there's no reason to not wash your hair as often as you need to. You're not damaging your hair more by washing it more if you're using the right products and drying it properly. The fourth mistake I see people with wavy hair making is trying to air dry their hair. And not only like attempting to air dry the hair, you know, you wash it, you scrunch the gel in, and then as it's drying, you kind of like are flipping it from side to side, you're air drying, you're reading your book, you flip it back, you scrunch some more, you keep reading your book, you flip it back, and scrunch it some more. And then they're disappointed and surprised and confused when their wash day turns out frizzy, limp, and wildly stretched out to like nearly straight hair that's also stringy noodle frizz. I am totally guilty of this. When I first started this process, I thought that somehow air drying my hair would be faster than diffusing my hair. Let's be honest, nothing seems more boring than standing there with a diffuser, sitting on your hair for 30 seconds to a minute, turning off the diffuser, moving it, placing it in its new location, diffusing for 30 seconds to a minute, turning it off, dropping it down, moving it to a new location, turning it on, letting it sit for 30 seconds. You get the idea. Or maybe just, you know, hover diffusing over your hair for what seems like one small eternity. However, if you go ahead and diffuse your hair, I've personally found that if I invest 15 to 20 minutes of my life diffusing my hair, taking that extra time, not only do I spend less of my life, not only do I spend less time of my life with wet hair touching me, can't stand that feeling, but also I go ahead and I get that cast set and allow my gel to form that really good crunchy exterior around each of my curl clumps as it dries without the weight of the water completely elongating the curl. Also, that gel cast going ahead and setting around each curl clump will protect my hair from frizz. When I diffuse 15 to 20 minutes, my hair is roughly 90% dry. I never diffuse it all the way dry. Always to 90%. Why? Because 15 to 20 minutes, it's 90% dry. There's something about that last 10% that takes like another 45 minutes of diffusing to get completely dry. And if I were to just like go ahead and air dry, it goes ahead and air dries in 45 minutes. Don't ask me how that works. I don't understand, but that has been my experience. So get it to 90% dry, let it finish air drying in that cast that has already started to form. And then once it's 100% dry, I can scrunch it out and fluff it. It doesn't take that long. It's not too bad. And I get way more shrinkage, way better curl definition, and way better wash day longevity than if I were to try and air dry. The last mistake I see people with wavy hair making all the time is getting the wrong cut for their hair. There's an absolute myriad of things that can go wrong with a haircut. We all know you get a good haircut, it's a good haircut. You get a bad haircut, and it's really bad. But I do feel like when you have wavy or curly hair, your haircut quality is magnified. If you get a bad cut on curly hair, it really, really shows. Same thing for wavy hair, but here's the conundrum. If you have wavy hair and you are doing everything you can to encourage shrinkage, to encourage your natural curl pattern to kind of shine through a little bit, you may think getting a curly hair cut is the way to go for you. And that's not always the case. This, unfortunately, is a case-by-case basis. There are people with wavy hair who will get a cut specific for curly hair and it be the absolute best haircut they have ever had in their entire life. But then there's people with wavy hair like me who will get curly hair cuts specifically designed for curly hair, and it adds a lot of weight to the hair because in some cases curly haircuts are designed to help hair that defies gravity clump into curl families without floofing and frizzing and growing really big. What I'm trying to say is that the majority of curly hair specific haircuts that I have had have added weight to my hair, and when there's added weight to my hair, it doesn't curl up as nice. I have had the absolute pleasure of giving curl coaching sessions to hundreds of women over the years of being here on the internet. P.S. If you are interested in a private curl coaching session with me, wherein we troubleshoot your specific hair problems and hair needs, it's been in the caption for a while now, a link to getting a curl coaching session with me. If you'd like that, great, it's right there. But after years of coaching women with their curly hair problems, we have found that people with a looser curl pattern and wavier hair actually get better results from a traditional wet cut, cutting the hair on wet hair that also contains a lot of layers. Wet cut with layers works better for wavy hair in the experience of a lot of people. And if you've been trying really hard to get that curly hair cut to make your hair curlier and you're just disappointed because you don't feel like it's working, you're not alone. Perhaps going back to a traditional wet cut and adding in some more layers is the way to go for you and your wavy hair. There's also one pitfall I want to address really quickly with getting cuts on wavy hair. I absolutely did this when I first started. I had really long hair that had tons of bleach damage. And at that time, my end goal for my hair was not having healthy hair. It was actually turning into Shirley Temple and getting ringlets all over my head. So what I thought is, I know what I'll do. I'll chop off all this old bleach damage, and taking off all that weight in my hair will make my hair spring up into Shirley Temple ringlets. I will have finally achieved my curly hair goals of 3B curls. Oh, naive Courtney. You cannot create curls where there are none naturally. And what I actually found is that my hair looked less curly when I cut it quite short, and that's because I was actually cutting off my curls. What do I mean by that? Let me explain with a visual aid. People with wavy hair or a looser curl pattern think that chopping their hair off will alleviate some of the weight that is on their hair, and their hair will spring up tighter. Yes, because as people with wavy hair, we are gravity challenged. Gravity really affects our hair, so taking some of the weight off will make it spring up, right? Not always. You may notice some more spring in your hair if you get a haircut, but oftentimes we have a finite number of bends and curls in our hair. See, let's count. 1, 2, 3. 3 bends, okay? If we were to cut the hair off, now how many bends in our hair do we have? We have 1.5, and the hair's not gonna bend more because our curl pattern is wavy, and the hair winds up looking less curly when it's cut than it did when it was longer. And visually, there were more bends in the hair or more curl in the hair. There are a lot of factors that come into play, what your desired outcome for your curls are. Like, what are you looking for? Do you want really, really long hair? Is hair length? Is volume your goal? Is definition your goal? The end goal for your hair will also determine which haircut works best for you. But don't think that magically getting a curly haircut and cutting off a whole lot of length is somehow going to make your hair way wavier, springier, bouncier. That's not always the case. All right, guys, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I sure hope you found this helpful. The 5 wavy hair mistakes that I see most often people with looser curl patterns making. Let us know in the comments down below. Have you made some of these mistakes? And what is the biggest mistake that you think I did not mention? Let's help each other out in the comments with the solutions that you found for those common mistakes. As always, I sure hope you are having an absolutely fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!